Where we have to live while sleep.
Right off the bat, we start with this crappy talkbox I made while I was trying to figure out how to make guitar pedals. It has this really scraggly distortion that I don't even know what's going on with it. It doesn't sound like normal clipping, but I really like it. Inside this box is essentially just that junky circuit connected to a super cheap computer speaker from the mid 2000s, and that's connected to some brass piping and vinyl tubing from Home Depot. So the sound comes out of the end of the tube, which I put in my mouth, and then as the sound comes out, I mouth out the lyrics, and the tube provides the actual note. It's just a normal but very poorly built talkbox for those who aren't familiar. I wanted to start off the album with something that immediately catches people's attention. I've heard the first 5 seconds are really important if you want people to give your music a chance, especially in the age of the internet. So this was my way of doing that while also trying to keep true to the spirit of the song. I figured that singing is this universally loved sound, and the scraggly talkbox would make it intriguing, I hope. Behind the talkbox is something pretty fun. It's an acoustic guitar, but I stretched out the middle section of each note like this. I got some pretty cool sounds out of that, so I'll make another video of just the isolated audio so you can hear all of that if you want to. After that, a vocal harmony comes in, and it's supported by a vocoder and some amp buzz.
I feel just like a human.
And what I mean by amp buzz is just me touching the chord while switching through settings on my amp. And then I just go through and pitch the sounds up and down to assemble chords. I put some slide guitar throughout the song because I wanted to tie it to a preformed association, at least a little. I don't know if it came across or not, but I'm trying to make it sound kind of like a desert with all the dry, scratchy sounds and the buzzing and cowboy guitar. After that, my interferometer comes in as bass and does this little fill into what I guess would be like a synth explosion.
But
For some reason, lowering the volume of all the other instruments to make way for a big explosive sound makes it sound even more intense than if everything just kept being loud. I don't really know physiologically why that would be the case, but if anybody has any theories, I'd love to hear them. After that, and right before the chorus hits, I run a chord through the talkbox. Throughout the chorus, the chords that you hear in the background are coming from orchestra music that I've cut up and stretched out, kind of like the acoustic guitar. The drums that you're hearing are synthesized from a graphics program, but that's a bit much to explain here, so I'll make a separate video to talk about how the graphics synth works, and you can check it out if you're interested. I also plan on making a video to explain the bass sound, which is coming from an interferometer. This might be my favorite instrument on the album, so if you're going to watch any explanation video, watch that one. I plan on also releasing an isolated track for the interferometer bass because it gets kind of hidden, and I think it sounds pretty good. The next verse is pretty similar to the first one, but arranged in a different way and with some added guitar features like this sparkly pitch-shifted guitar. That's sort of a common element on this album. I tried to roughly stick to pop song structure, essentially switching from verse and chorus a couple times with maybe an intro, outro, or bridge. But I didn't want to do any direct copy pasting, so I could continue building the song's momentum and keep things interesting. I tried to keep the same melodies and instruments throughout, but it's always a trade-off between keeping things fresh and sticking melodies in people's heads and maintaining a consistent mood. It's possible to do all that, but it's pretty tough. On this album, I leaned pretty heavily in the direction of keeping it fresh, which means it's harder to connect with. I think that fits as far as the futuristic themes, though. I mean, sci-fi stuff is supposed to extend beyond our current paradigms, and I guess in some way it's supposed to feel kind of unrecognizable. Hopefully not completely inaccessible, though. Anyway, the talkbox comes back, and instead of going into another chorus, I do a fake out and switch to a new section.
Who that would say if it wasn't a motel bed?
After that, I start winding down into the third and final verse, and we end with a section from the chorus that I deprived you of. For the vocals in this very last section, I used Logic Pro's pitch correction to drop a couple octaves. Usually people use pitch correction in a subtle way to speed up production, but if you do extreme pitch correction, Logic gives you these cool robotic kind of sounds. And that's it. If you'd like to hear this song without me interrupting it, then I'll put the link in the description. And yeah, I'll see you next time.